All right, we are live. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmo TV here, aka G133. I want to welcome you guys back here to the Legit Shoot podcast. We're here tonight with your SmackDown review and results for July 6, 2020. Hope everybody is staying safe and healthy. Thank you guys for joining me once again, right back here on the podcast here tonight. Man, my hair is looking a mess, but who cares? But anyway, we're here with your Monday Night Raw review. Oh my gosh, look at my hair. Anyway, yes, Monday Night Raw review today. We are continuing the build towards Extreme Rules, the horror show, in 2 weeks' time. And what can I say about this show tonight? I will give some credit to I guess WWE. I will say at least tonight it looked like they tried a little bit more. And last week the ratings for both Raw and SmackDown were absolutely horrendous. They Raw and SmackDown both drew 1.7 ratings, and it was not good at all. And WWE has themselves to blame for that, for the way they've handled the coronavirus situation, for the way they've handled all of this nonsense, man. But I would say at least tonight it seemed like they tried a little bit more. They tried to be a little more creative. We did get a couple more matches announced for Extreme Rules with some stipulations, which we'll talk about tonight. But tonight's show was mostly towards building towards Extreme Rules. All right, and one thing I did notice on tonight's Raw is it wasn't like the last couple weeks where they've put like 1,000 things at the viewer. If you guys remember the last couple weeks, they've been throwing you segment after segment after segment after segment, and so much stuff is being just thrown at you at once, and you're just trying to figure out what's going on. You see one feud get 4 segments, another feud gets 3 segments, and then they're doing 24/7 championship and all these other stuff. But tonight's show had a lot more of a direction. The main focus tonight was the women's division, especially with what's going on with Sasha and Bayley going up against Asuka and Nicky Cross. We saw the return of Kyrie, Seine, which we are going to talk about. That is the big thing for me, because if you guys have not been reading the news, Kyrie Seine is leaving WWE. She's planning to go back to Japan to be with her husband, who lives down there, so she won't be with the company for a while. I don't know if she's being released or if they negotiate some kind of deal, but we do know that Kyrie Seine is leaving WWE to go back to Japan, and they did build a lot of this show about that whole situation, so we're going to talk about that on tonight's podcast. Nothing really special happened on the show tonight. Of course, having Sasha and Bayley on there, they've been the best thing about the main roster as of late. And I've been saying this on every single podcast. Sasha and Bayley have been the best thing on Monday Night Raw, on SmackDown, on NXT. They've been the best thing in the women's division, with Charlotte and Becky and Ronda and all these other names being out. They've been carrying the women's division since this whole pandemic started. And one thing I want to note is, everyone talks about how Sasha Banks was gone for 4 months last year after WrestleMania. She's basically making up for that time right now, with her being on 3 shows every single week, and her being on Raw and SmackDown and doing her thing with Bayley, man. It's like she's making up for all that time was lost. And it just sucks because we don't have any crowd. And, that's one thing I want to focus on, is because if you guys did read the news earlier, Summerslam is officially canceled. All right, Summerslam will not be happening here in Boston like it was supposed to be. I was planning on going to Summerslam this year, but that is no longer happening, of course, with everything that's been going on with the world. Luckily, we're going to be getting refunds. But Summerslam's going to be moved to the Performance Center, and it sucks, but it's it's because of what's been going on with the world, and especially here in the US, people have not been handling this whole coronavirus situation in a smart manner, and it sucks. It does suck, because if the governors and the people running this country could run this country a little bit better and take this pandemic a little more seriously, maybe we wouldn't have to deal with situations like this. But I'm not even thinking just about SummerSlam. I'm thinking about the rest of this year. I really don't think we're gonna have anything like any fans, like, legit shows back, to normal until 2021. Until maybe there's a vaccine or something, because the way things are going, the cases are on the rise because people are not being smart. People don't want to wear masks. People don't want to, respect social distancing laws. It's sad. It really is sad. So, because of that, SummerSlam's not going to be able to take place in Boston. It's going to be taking place at the Performance Center. Like all the other shows have been taking place since March. And honestly, I feel like this is not going to end till 2021. Maybe Survivor Series, maybe if we're lucky, but I honestly don't think we will see things get back to normal till maybe Royal Rumble of next year. That's the way things are looking, and it sucks, but it's the way things is. And the big thing I wanted to say, and Paul, I see you in the chat, was Raw bad tonight? It wasn't as bad as last week. I'm not going to say, you need to go watch Monday Night Raw if you missed the show tonight. I'm definitely not going to say that. But it wasn't, terrible. It does mainly build towards Extreme Rules. That was the whole big thing. But getting back to what I was saying, with the way, things are going, I'm going to put this on the record, and I'm going to keep probably saying this over the next couple of weeks. I do not think Sasha Banks and Bayley should be happening at SummerSlam if you're not going to have a crowd. The stage for Sasha Banks and Bayley happening at SummerSlam, and I've been saying this for months, it was perfect. It was 5 years after the best female wrestling match ever from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn back in 2015, and then it would be taking place in Sasha's hometown in Boston. There was just so much that would have made this moment special, so much. And the fact that it's not going to be able to happen with fans, I just don't think Sasha and Bayley needs to be rushed. We all complain how they didn't do it at WrestleMania. That would have been the best point, but I didn't complain as much because, WrestleMania didn't feel like WrestleMania at all. At the end of the day, it was in a performance center with no fans. You know what I mean? And, now I hate the way, WWE is right now. I hate the way wrestling is. I hate not having an audience there. As much as I bash people all the time, and I bash, people for spending thousands and thousands of dollars on WWE tickets, man. This has showed us, man, how we need to love and respect sports and fans. Because, man, it's so hard to get through these shows and not have that live audience. I'm grateful that we have the NXT Performance Center, giving their time to act as fans in these performance centers, but it's just not the same. It's not the same with having 10 to 14,000 people out there in an arena, making noise. Because legit, the whole point of a WWE show is the fans. They make the show happen. Without them, there is no show. And that's what this pandemic has shown me. All these companies are trying their best to get through, and, especially AEW and WWE. And still, it just doesn't feel the same. And it's not going to feel the same until we get that live audience back. And Sasha and Bayley, they deserve the biggest stage. It's a match we've been waiting for years. And WWE has made us wait for it for years. But honestly, I feel like we can be a little more patient. I really don't want to see Sasha and Bayley at SummerSlam if it's going to be inside the Performance Center. It deserves the biggest stage possible. If that's Survivor Series, if we can get back to, some kind of crowd, like normal crowd, fine. But honestly, I don't see that happening until 2021. Honestly, what I would do at this point, I would have Sasha and Bayley hold the tag titles for most of the rest of the year. Probably sometime maybe in the fall, you're gonna have Sasha and Bayley lose those titles. And I'll probably do another video going in depth on this. I would also then have maybe Sasha win the Royal Rumble, and then I would have Sasha and Bayley, hopefully with a crowd at WrestleMania, finally have the match happen there. I don't know if WWE's going to go down that direction, but that's the way I see it. If Sasha and Bayley ends up happening at SummerSlam inside the Performance Center, fine. But, it's just not going to feel the same. And I feel like most of you guys can't agree with me on that. But, either way, we'll just have to see how things go. We don't really know what WWE's plans are for SummerSlam right now. We'll just have to see how it goes. down the next couple months. But honestly, guys, I'm just don't want to see Sasha and Bayley at SummerSlam with no crowd. I want to see the match, of course. I want to see Sasha become SmackDown Women's Champion. I want to see her finally become a Grand Slam champion. But, I don't want to see it rust, especially if we're going to get it at the Performance Center. No. It'll be a 5-star match, but still. No, I want them to save it for the biggest stage possible, because it's one of the biggest things that anybody wants in WWE, and they've been building towards it for such a long time. But continuing to talk on Sasha Banks and Bayley, they were both on the show tonight. Sasha had a match with Kyrie Seine. Bayley, before the show was advertised as champion versus champion, we saw Bayley versus Asuka in the main event tonight. And also I would also say that the big thing is next week. We know we have Extreme Rules in about 2 weeks, but next week, Sasha and Bayley are going to be defending the women's tag team titles again against Asuka and Kyrie Sane 1 week before Extreme Rules. This is very interesting to me because there's a lot of factors going into this. I already told you guys at the beginning of the show, and it's been reported in the news, Kyrie Sane, she's going to be leaving WWE to go back to Japan, and she's not going to be coming back. She's going to go to Japan to be with her husband, which makes perfect sense. Love Kyrie Sane. I'm happy for her. Go be happy. So there's no doubt Sasha and Bayley are going to retain next week. Especially, there's no way you're taking the titles off Sasha and Bayley a week before Extreme Rules, unless you're trying to, trigger some kind of breakup or tension between Sasha Banks and Bayley before Extreme Rules. Because once again, we don't know WWE's plans, but right now, if Sasha and Bayley is to happen at SummerSlam, you only have about a month and a half. You only have about 6 weeks at this point. So, you're going to have to start speeding up the tension between the two. And Sasha and Bayley, they've been on fire as of late. But if WWE wants to, they may start using next week's title match to start building that tension between the two, and we've all talked about what would make the most sense. Bayley's most likely going to retain against Nicky Cross, and maybe Sasha, it looks like she's about to defeat Asuka, but then Bayley gets involved, and then Bayley accidentally causes Sasha the match. Sasha gets frustrated to the point where it leads to Sasha and Bayley turning on one another. Sasha turns babyface, and that leads us to Sasha versus Bayley at SummerSlam. That's the most logical idea, and that's the most likely scenario at this moment, but we don't know. We don't know at the end of the day how they're going to do this, but we do know that Sasha and Bayley aren't losing the tag titles next week. They aren't losing the tag titles next week because we all know Kyrie Sane's not staying in WWE. Why would WWE give Asuka and Kyrie Sane the tag team titles next week when we know Kyrie Sane is leaving the company? Plus, you've been advertising Extreme Rules as, Sasha's challenging Asuka because she wants to become a double champion, and Sasha and Bayley want to take over all of WWE. They want to take over the whole damn company. It makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense if you ask me. So there's no way you're going to be advertising Sasha trying to become 2 belts Banks and have her lose the tag titles with Bayley a week before their defense. I could definitely see some kind of tension being, arising to the surface or triggered between the two. But at the end of the day, they're going to retain. They're going to get the job done. I feel like most of us know this is what's going to happen. All right, so I wanted to speak briefly on that, but it's going to be an amazing match. Sasha versus Bayley versus the Kubaki Warriors is a match I've been wanting to see for a long time, and especially if it's Kyrie Sane's last match in WWE. If they use this match to write her off television, I could definitely see them doing some kind of maybe an injury angle. Maybe Sasha and Bayley attack Kyrie Sane to the point where they retain the titles and Kyrie Sane's no longer able to compete. It writes Kyrie Sane off of television. Maybe they're going to do something like that. And then it would make, the Sasha versus Asuka match look bigger. and all that, because we're all excited for Sasha versus Asuka. And I think that's the match everyone is most excited for at Extreme Rules. So definitely is going to be a really good match, and I'm excited for that. So basically, let's get into it. Let's talk about the whole Sasha situation now. All right. Like I said, we got, what is it? I'm looking in the chat real quick. Savon Vlog and Gamer, the best gamer ever. Welcome, bro. Good to see you in the chat, man. If you're a new subscriber, bro, thanks for joining the army. I'm glad to have you here. All right, I see your comment. Okay. And like I said, guys, if you guys are in the chat, if you guys are watching, make sure to leave a like on the video. It really helps me out a lot. It pushes the video into the recommended section, and it gets more eyes on our videos. But, all right. So, all right, I see you, Sleeping Angels. Okay, Stimpy, I see you. Paul, good to see you, bro. Broken Ticks, I see you as always. Avi and Josh, good to see you, man. All right, but yeah, let's get back into it. So I'm gonna skip through this a little bit. I'm gonna go straight to the Sasha and Bayley segment really quick, just to start us off, since we've just been talking about it. But oh yeah, I had the wrong notes from Bleach Report. Let me just fix that real quick. But anyway, Sasha and Bayley came out, and they basically talked about both their matches for Extreme Rules and how they're gonna become double champions. How Sasha's gonna become 2 belts bank, and Bayley, how she's gonna take out Nicky Cross. And it was the usual stuff. There was nothing special here. I love Sasha Banks and Bayley, but there was nothing special here in their promo. It was just them doing their normal stick. Asuka came out to address Sasha. She said that Sasha doesn't stand a chance against her. Bayley spoke up for her friend and put her in a match against Kyrie Seine. So they're continuing this, this whole thing. Bayley, just accepting matches for Sasha without her permission, and then Sasha's been doing the same thing now as of late. If you guys remember last week on SmackDown, Sasha accepted a match on Bayley's behalf without Bayley's permission against Alexa Bliss, and Sasha did the same thing later on tonight when she accepted the women's tag team title match against the Kubaki Warriors for next week. So I'm not sure where this is really going, because before it was Bayley doing it almost every single week. Now Sasha's doing it back to Bayley, but I don't know. I thought the whole point was to make, Sasha grow frustrated with Bayley. Because at the end of the day, I think all of us believe Sasha's going to be the one turning babyface. It makes the most sense. Since we've seen Bayley as the face and Sasha as the heel, it would make the most sense for once we get that match, Sasha to be the face and Bayley to be the heel, especially with the way Bayley's character is now. So I don't know. But we come back. This was a really good match. It was a really good and fun match for Sasha versus Kyrie. We've never seen these two one-on-one in the ring. So, and JD tweeted this on Twitter, and I felt it was very, very, good to bring up on the podcast tonight. Sasha and Bayley, you guys remember back in 2018 when they were going up against, Absolution and the Riot Squad every single week, and I would sit here complaining, me and my buddy Moose, when Moose was still doing the podcast with me, I would sit here and bitch and moan about this every single week, how they would be doing Sasha and Bayley against the Riot Squad and Absolution, how they're wasting away the 2 of the best female wrestlers in the world. It's just funny to see now that we're in this pandemic, and Charlotte and Becky and Ronda aren't there, and now how Sasha and Bayley, every match they're in now, were invested into. Now they're actually getting to have those matches they wanted. Go down to NXT and face Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart. Go up against Io Shirai at the Great American Bash last week, which was a fantastic match. Now we're getting Sasha versus Asuka. Now we got Sasha and Kyrie Sane tonight, even though there was no finish. Next week we're gonna get Sasha and Bayley against Asuka and Kyrie Sane for the women's tag team titles. It's just crazy to see how finally seems like somebody in the back is realizing how great Sasha and Bayley actually are, and now they're actually getting booked the way they should have been booked the entire time back in 2017 and 2018. All right. Anyway, getting back into it. So basically we see Kyrie, she put Sasha in the octopus submission, then she rolled up Banks for a near fall. Sasha and Banks and Seine, my bad, I'm getting the names mixed up. They were trading offense, and this went through 2 commercials, so this was really good. And Seine drilled her with a spear as she tried to build up some steam. As it looked like Seine was getting ready to go for her elbow drop, Bayley got in, or not for an elbow drop. Seine actually had a submission on Sasha, but Bayley came in and interfered with a kick that caused a disqualification. Then Asuka and Kyrie Sane attacked Sasha and Bayley. Seine hit the elbow drop from inside the ring to the outside of the floor, which allowed Asuka and Seine, the baby faces, to get the last laugh on Sasha and Bayley. That would be addressed a little bit later on in the night when we had the Asuka versus Bayley match. It was really good. Actually, they gave them a pretty good amount of time. The match started a little bit after 10:30. And, there was about 2 commercial breaks. This was really good. Bayley was on the offensive the entire time. And Bayley and Asuka have really good chemistry. If you guys don't believe me, let's go watch their freaking NXT title matches. I say more. But this was a really good match. I feel like some people really sleep on Bayley just because when Bayley's facing like an Alexa Bliss or a Nicky Cross or a Lacey Evans, she's kind of simple. She's not. It doesn't seem like she's giving her best. But when she's in a match with somebody as great as Asuka, that's when Bayley's going hard, and you can really see how great she actually is, and she really showed that in this match tonight. Sasha was outside, holding Bayley's belt, and if you guys saw on Twitter, Sasha did post a picture of her with Bayley's belt and the tag titles, and everybody's been saying how the title looks so much better on Sasha than on Bayley. I think we all agree, and we're all waiting for the day when Sasha finally becomes SmackDown Women's Champion, because it's gonna happen. But Sasha had all 3 belts on at ringside. Nicky Cross was outside of the or at commentary for this match, and this didn't make any sense to me, because Sasha and Bayley, they're the tag titles, they're the tag champs. They can go on any show they want, anytime they want, right? That needs no explanation. I haven't heard anything about the brand Invitational as of late. So why is Nicky Cross on Raw? Who invited Nicky Cross on Monday Night Raw? She has no reason to be there. I understand, yes, Bayley is her opponent, but that's on SmackDown. It makes 0 sense. And I'm not really complaining, because I like Nicky Cross. I can't stand Alexa Bliss. I would have been a lot more angry if Alexa Bliss was out there, but Nicky Cross, it's still, don't insult our intelligence. Right? You can't just put Nicky Cross on commentary and just be like, hey, whatever. She's not a Raw superstar. She's a SmackDown superstar. Like I said, Sasha and Bayley are the tag champs. They can be on any show they want, whenever they want. Nikki has no championship belt. And I didn't hear anything about her being invited to Monday Night Raw. She just showed up. Like, let's use logic here, guys. Come on. But Nikki, she got taken away from ringside because she tried to attack Bayley. But then later on in the match, we saw Nikki. She was able to get behind the plexiglass where the NXT talent were, and she was able to distract Bayley enough where Asuka was able to get the pin on Bayley. Sasha tried to save Bayley, but she got intercepted by Kyrie Sane. So the baby faces stand on top this week. So Asuka gets some retribution on, first of all, Sasha pinned her last week. So Asuka kind of needed this victory a little bit more, Plus, you can use the Nicky Cross distraction for why Bayley lost. So Bayley still looks strong, so she doesn't look weak in the situation. And I expect Sasha and Bayley to retain next week anyway. So honestly, it's whatever. We do have Sasha and Bayley going up against Alexa Bliss and Nicky Cross this Friday on SmackDown. I'm not excited for that match, so we'll see what happens there. I don't think Sasha and Bayley will lose that match unless, something sneaky happens, but we'll just have to, wait and see till this Friday on SmackDown. All right. But all right, yeah. So that's my thoughts on that. Like I said, guys, nothing special happened on the show tonight. So if you guys can probably hear it in my voice. Like I love Sasha and Bailey, but there was nothing on this show that got me hyped or excited. It was just a standard build towards Extreme Rules. Like if they built towards the matches that they needed to, but just nothing special happened. It was better than last week's Raw, I'll say that, but still, just nothing. Nothing exciting really. But let me get back to what happened at the beginning of the show. So at the beginning of the show, we had Drew McIntyre. He came out, and the reason why he was out there, he wanted to know what the stipulation for his match with Ziggler at Extreme Rules was going to be. Excuse me, I had the burp there. If you guys remember, last week McIntyre said he would let Ziggler pick the stipulation for their WWE Championship match at Extreme Rules, so Ziggler would have no excuses to make after he lost. Makes sense, but Ziggler came out being the heel that he is. He did not give any response. He said, I'm going to wait till the last minute to let you know. I'm not going to give you a chance to prepare. So I'm going to guess they would wait till next week. Because you have to advertise the match, right? What, are you going to wait till the last moment, like right before the bell rings when Ziggler makes his entrance to announce what the stipulation is going to be? I don't expect the stipulation to be anything special. It'll probably be something like, either like an Extreme Rules match or probably maybe a Last Man Standing match. Maybe an I Quit. But I don't expect the match to be anything out of this world. The match is going to be great. Don't get me lying. It's going to be a really good match. Ziggler and McIntyre are great. But I don't really care for the story. And, it doesn't really matter what stipulation you put. It's going to be a good match. It's just, I don't really care about Dolph Ziggler. You guys have heard me say this the last couple of weeks. I just don't care about Dolph Ziggler. Nothing you gotta do is gonna make me care. They tried to be somewhat creative tonight. So basically, I don't know why the lights are turning on right there. There we go. But basically, Ziggler brought out Heath Slater. Yes, if you guys remember, Heath Slater was one of the many WWE superstars that were released on Black Wednesday back in April when WWE cut a bunch of its talent and staff because, they're trying to save money because of this pandemic. And I knew what they were doing right away. They brought back Drake Maverick. He eventually got a contract, and it actually worked out for him. WWE was able to use the Drake Maverick story. And Drake Maverick did a really good job on Twitter getting, his story out there. And, this drew attention from Vince and Triple H. And they actually made a really good story out of this. And Drake actually still has a job now. Now he's being, built up as a contender for the Cruiserweight title down on NXT. But they're trying this with Heath Slater, and it's been reported, I don't know if you guys know this, but Heath Slater, all signs are pointing to him signing with Impact Wrestling once his 90 days are up. So after you're released, WWE's still paying. WWE's still paying the superstars that they released. They promised that they would pay these superstars for at least the next 3 months, which that's going to end. It's crazy that this Black Wednesday happened in April, and here we are in July. So it's already been close to 3 months. But these superstars are still being paid. So I guess in a way they're still under contract, but they're not. They're released superstars. WWE just agreed to keep paying them, because of what's going on. And WWE has the money to do that. But, clearly this was a situation where they called Heath and, they probably gave him a nice little bonus as well. Told him, hey, come in, since your 90 days are still up, we can still use you. He's still going to Impact. So are, the OC, Gallows and Anderson. And probably Zack Ryder will end up in AEW and some of these other names as well. But WWE was probably able to call Heath in and it'd be like, let's use you one last time. And that's what they did here. And it kind of made sense with, Drew McIntyre and the whole history that they have, 3MB, Drew, Heath, and Jinder Mahal. And Heath talked about watching McIntyre win the WWE Championship from his couch and how he shed tears of joy for his friend, especially after seeing what happened with McIntyre. And he talked about when McIntyre was released back in 2014, how he would call him every single day and be there for his friend. And Heath was unhappy with his friend because McIntyre did not return the same favor. He did not return the same favor to Heath back when he was released back in April. He said having kids isn't a gimmick for him, it's real life. Slater's gimmick was, I have kids, man. But Heath was very emotional. You could see the tears coming down his face, and he was really emotional. I love when WWE blends, a little bit of real life into their storylines. It makes it much better. Even though I could tell where they were going with this, it was still good to see. This was, the best promo we've ever Heath cut. And it kind of also pisses me off because WWE has so much talent, but the thing is they never let their talent, express themselves. You look at the list of names that they released, and you just look at them and you're just like, damn, look at Rusev. Look at Zack Ryder. Look at, the OC. Look at a Sarah Logan and EC3. Look at the talent of some of these names. And, these names are going to end up in, Ring of Honor or Impact or AEW. And how those companies are going to use, them much better than WWE. And I understand, WWE are, they have so much talent, but still, it's just crazy how some of these superstars are just wasted on WWE television. It doesn't make sense to me how you can waste that much talent. This was such a really good promo by Heath, and it's just like, damn, why didn't WWE ever let Heath go out and express himself in the 10 years he was there? Heath was there back in 2010 when he debuted with the Nexus. And you're telling me during the 10 years that you never let him do anything like this? He has a couple of great moments, the segment with Brock Lesnar when Lesnar said, I don't give a shit about your kids. The storyline with him and Rhino when they first won the SmackDown Tag Team titles, back when the brand split happened. But it's just like, damn, like WWE just doesn't know when they have actual stars. This was a really good promo. Heath said McIntyre owes him a match, because he talked about how last time McIntyre and him actually spoke was on the bump, and McIntyre said he would love to have a match with Heath Slater. Heath didn't challenge for the WWE Championship, which I'm glad they didn't go down that direction. But Heath said he still wanted a match with McIntyre right there. McIntyre said he didn't want the fight, but Slater slapped him, and McIntyre accepts. So it's like, and the easiest way to get under McIntyre's skin is to slap him. We saw a Big Show, do the same exact thing. They get a WWE title match at WrestleMania after McIntyre fought Lesnar. The easiest way to get under McIntyre's skin is to slap him. But we come back from the break. McIntyre put him down with a Claymore in probably like less than 30 seconds. And then afterwards, McIntyre, he didn't even celebrate. He just, left the ring, went up the ramp. Afterwards, Slater, being a heel, attacked, or not Slater, Ziggler. Ziggler attacked Slater, but McIntyre made the save. He helped Slater up, and they embraced and celebrated. They actually did the 3MB symbol in the ring, so this was one last good moment for Heath Slater. I'm kind of glad he was able to get one last moment that, he can remember with. We may not remember it down the line, but I know for Heath and McIntyre, especially for the friendship they have outside of the ring, definitely this is something they're going to remember years down the line. Slater's probably going to Impact, and I wish him all the success down there. I don't watch Impact. I don't really care about Impact, but, hopefully he, finds success down there. He wasn't ever, the most flashy wrestler, but he could get the job done. So, and definitely, his character work, and, he's a pretty good promo, and I think he proved that tonight. So hopefully, whatever they have planned for him in Impact, hopefully they can use him well, and he can make a name for himself. So I'm happy for Heath that he was able to get this one last moment tonight. So moving on, we had the KO show. So Kevin Owens back on Raw. We haven't seen KO, for the last month really. Remember, KO walked out of the Performance Center because it was about a month ago when WWE was doing absolutely terrible with their whole coronavirus testing situation. It seems like WWE has gotten things a little more back under control. I'm not sure if they're testing every single week, but I know they have masks. You are required now to wear masks inside the Performance Center, and they're doing things at least a little bit better. Like I said, I don't know if they're testing every single week, but Kevin Owens has returned to television, so they must be doing something better, because KO did post a video on his social media talking about how people need to wear masks and people need to stay safe. So definitely it was good to see KO back. But KO came out. He got rid of the chairs in the ring, and he knew, things were probably going to go sour. He talked about the rivalry that him and Seth had, and Rollins came out. And before this, I forgot to mention, Aleister Black was attacked by Murphy and Rollins backstage. Before this, Black and Humberto have been feuding with Rollins while he's been feuding with Mysterio, so kind of makes sense to continue that whole program over here. Seth, he was being saying that he was excited to be on the show, but he really wasn't. You guys knew this. But Seth asked Owens how his ankle was doing after it was hurt during the WrestleMania encounter. KO said it was fine. He actually gave Rollins a gift, to commemorate their Mania encounter. It was a shirt that had KO Mania 4 on it. Rollins tossed it out in the ring and said he didn't give a damn about KO or his show or his shirt. He just came out to use Owens' show and platform to challenge Mysterio to a match at Extreme Rules. We kind of knew this was the direction that they were going. But like I said this last week, I've been disappointed with the way the storyline has gone. I feel like WWE had so much they could have done with this Rollins and Dominic and Mysterio storyline, and it just feels like it's falling short. It's like WWE's not seeing the potential that the storyline has. It has been reported in the news also this week that right now Mysterio is working for WWE, but he has no contract. His contract reportedly expired last week, so it was reported that WWE was giving him a raise, but Mysterio rejected it. So I don't know. Remember, it's kind of similar to what happened with Drew Gulak. Remember, Drew Gulak's contract expired about a month ago, and people thought he was gone, but him and WWE were renegotiating the entire time, and he re-signed. So maybe that's what's going on with Mysterio. We don't know. We don't know if Mysterio is planning to leave. Maybe they're trying to use this feud with Rollins to, take Rollins off WWE, or not take Rollins, take Mysterio off WWE TV permanently. All right. Since his contract is expired, maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. Maybe Mysterio wants to go to New Japan. I don't know if Mysterio wants to go to AEW. I don't know. I don't think Mysterio is that kind of person. But I don't know. Maybe Mysterio actually wants to retire. Maybe he wants to just retire and train Dominic. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see where they go with this. But basically, Seth challenged Mysterio to a match at Extreme Rules. Then he tried to recruit Kevin Owens to his cause, but of course, KO was not going to join. Ray came out and accepted Rollins' match. Then, since Aleister Black was taken out earlier and he was supposed to be Mysterio's partner, KO offered to be Mysterio's partner instead. So we returned from break, and then the match is going on. The match was anything special. It's rinse and repeat, really. We've seen this match how many times? Like every week it's Rollins and Murphy either going up against Humberto and Black, or Black and Mysterio, or Humberto and Mysterio, or KO and Black, or KO and Mysterio. Like every week, it's like another tag team match. It's nothing special. I kind of tuned out of this. I really didn't pay attention much till the end. So basically, what happens here, Rey Mysterio was getting offense on Buddy Murphy. Then we see Rollins, he went to attack Dominic at ringside. And it looked like he was going to try to sacrifice Dominic. But then Aleister Black came out, recovering from the beatdown from earlier. And then he attacked, Black attacked Seth. This distraction led for Mysterio to hit Dominic actually was able to attack Murphy by raking him in the eyes. And then Mysterio was able to hit the 619, hit the frog splash, get the victory for his team. So basically, the stipulation for this tag team match was the winner would get to pick the stipulation for Rollins versus Mysterio at Extreme Rules. And after the match, Mysterio said, "We're going to do an eye for an eye match." And I don't like this. I really don't like this. If you saw KO's reaction in the ring, KO was like all of us at home. Like, what? We're doing a eye for an eye match? Like, this is lazy creative. I was hoping they would go down the direction of, having either Dominic versus Seth or maybe Mysterio versus Seth, with the stipulation being Dominic would be forced to join, Seth's Messiah clan if Mysterio lost. And then Mysterio just fighting, to get Dominic back. Like I said, this storyline is just, I'm losing interest in it. An eye for an eye match, like, how does that go? I don't understand like how that match goes. I don't know. I don't see them taking out Seth's eye. I think this is mostly going to end up with Rollins beating Mysterio and Mysterio losing his other eye per storyline, and that being a way to write Mysterio out of WWE if he's not going to re-sign. I would rather just go the direction with Dominic being forced to join Seth's clan. I feel like that's a much better storyline. But like I said, I don't know. The storyline's falling flat for me, and I'm starting to lose interest in it by the week. Maybe WWE can make us, believers and make something out of this. They are calling Extreme Rules the horror show, but I don't know. Maybe they're trying to make this gruesome, like Halloween. I'm not really digging it. I'm just not really digging it. I gotta be honest with you guys. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys like the stipulation between Rollins and Mysterio here? Let me know what you guys think. Okay, so we had MVP come out with Bobby Lashley, and basically it's confirmed at Extreme Rules we will be seeing Apollo Crews versus MVP for the United States Championship. I am not excited for this whatsoever. I like what MVP has been doing in his manager, as a manager, but I don't want to see MVP wrestling in 2020. I say this every single week. I don't know what they're doing here. But it was announced earlier today that they would be unveiling a new United States title on Raw tonight, and which they did. So MVP talked about Apollo Crews and how disrespectful he has been, and basically he talked about how his third United States title reign would be much better than his last two. And basically, he talked about how since he beat Apollo clean last week on Raw, that basically already makes him the United States champion. I guess, whatever, who cares? I don't care about the storyline. But they did unveil the new United States title, and he said that the belt would officially be his after he beat Crews at Extreme Rules. We've been hearing for months now that WWE's been wanting to make some changes to the titles. We saw the Universal title change from Raw to SmackDown, and they changed it from red to blue. We saw the Intercontinental title change when Shinsuke Nakamura was holding it late last year, which, the new IC title looks fantastic. And now we see the US title get a new change. It has a much more modern day look. There's like a huge eagle on the title, and it's, the title looks beautiful. The title looks absolutely beautiful. I had no problems with the prior version of the U.S. title, but this title looks beautiful. It gives it more of a modern day look. They didn't need the changes in my eyes, but I'm not going to complain about it whatsoever. But the title looks beautiful. But Bobby Lashley declared MVP the new champion already, and they put the title around his waist. Ricochet and Cedric Alexander make a rare occasion, appearance. They come out of catering tonight, and basically, they said, and I agreed with them. This was disrespectful. Apollo Crews is the United States champion. I don't know why he wasn't on the show tonight. They said it was because of the beatdown he took last week from Lashley and MVP. Because of Lashley's full Nelson. But I don't know. It seems like WWE is really in a rush to undo everything that Paul Heyman did. For real. They're in a rush to undo all the hard work that Paul Heyman tried to do to build up the next generation. Because it looks, they're unveiling a new championship. But Apollo is still the champion. Like, you couldn't wait till Extreme Rules to take the title off Apollo and then unveil the new title? Like, do you want to get that title off Apollo that badly that you're going to disrespect him by unveiling a new title when he's holding the current United States Championship? Does no one see the logic gap there? It's disrespectful. You could, come on. Have some respect for your current champion. At least wait till you have him drop the championship at the pay-per-view. I hate when WWE does that. But basically, we saw Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. They attacked Lashley and MVP. We come back, and what did we get? If Teddy Long was here, let's have ourselves a tag team match. So we come back, we have a tag team match. Ricochet and Cedric Alexander going up against Lashley and MVP. I hated how MVP was wearing a suit and wrestling in a suit. Come on. If you were going to do this, you couldn't have had MVP come out in his ring gear or something more, suiting of a wrestler. You actually had him wrestle in a suit. Tie, shirt, belt, everything. It's ridiculous. But anyway, the Almighty hit a massive spear to Ricochet. Ricochet and Lashley have really good chemistry. The new U.S. title looks great. But, Lashley and MVP get the win here. There was talk backstage. MVP was talking to Cedric Alexander and how he was talking about how, Cedric's just more of an afterthought in his pairing with Ricochet. Now, you had MVP. He tried to recruit Apollo Crews. He couldn't get that job done. So now he's going towards Cedric Alexander. So I don't know. I don't know how I would feel about a heel Cedric Alexander, but we'll just have to wait and see. Will Cedric actually turn on Ricochet? That could be interesting. MVP, he's trying to build some kind of, male stable there. It's going to be interesting to see if that actually happens. We had Billy Kay versus Peyton Royce. This was garbage. Billy Kay sucks in the ring. You guys know I say this every week on the podcast. This match was terrible. You had Ruby Riott lose to Billy Kay. First Peyton Royce last week. Now this week, Billy Kay. Of course they're playing up, the Iconics having the 2-on-1 advantage on Ruby Riott. Definitely, clearly, we know this is a simple storyline. Ruby's gonna reunite with Liv Morgan, even though it makes no sense because you just broke them up just a couple months ago. Now, because you have nothing better, and since Charlotte and Becky are gone, now you have no choice but to pair them back together. Yes, it gets another tag team into the women's division, which we don't mind, but it's lacking intelligence. It makes you look stupid for breaking up Liv and Ruby in the first place. But clearly, this is going to lead to Ruby reuniting with Liv Morgan, so they can even the odds and take down the Riott Squad. So don't really care there, but hey, you have Ruby Riott losing. This is 0 for 12, I believe. I think, 0 for 12 since he's returned from injury. Hasn't won a single match. I bet you Ruby really wishes she was off WWE TV. Terrible. The Viking Raiders, this is the last thing we're going to talk about since we've already talked about everything else. The Viking Raiders and Big Show versus Randy Orton, Andrade, and Angel Garza. There was backstage segments for both teams. The Raiders, telling Big Show that once again, the raid is going to be on. It's just sad to see how far the Raiders have fallen since NXT. It's sad. And we saw Randy Orton talking to Garza and Andrade and Zelina Vega, along with Ric Flair. I don't know. I find this interesting. I kind of want to see with Randy Orton, man. I've been saying, at Summerslam it's to be Orton versus McIntyre for the WWE Championship. What you're doing right now with Randy Orton, I kind of want to see Randy Orton in charge of a stable again. Kind of like you guys remember back in the day what he did with Legacy, with Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase. I would love to see that again. Man. I feel like Garza and Andrade, they would be perfect to be in a stable with Randy Orton. I remember a couple of years back on SmackDown, we so desperately wanted to see Orton and the Revival have their own stable, but those plans fell through. Hopefully we can get that here. I feel like it would be really good, especially for Garza and Andrade. They have somebody as big as Randy Orton be the leader there. But basically, the match wasn't bad. It wasn't anything special. But basically, Orton at the end tried to hit Big Show with an RKO, but the big man avoided it. And then basically, of course, tag team match. Everybody taking turns, taking each other out. Orton nailed Eric with an RKO out of nowhere. Gets the win for his team. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but I'm willing to bet next week Orton versus Big Show will be announced for Extreme Rules. And the last thing on the show, Sasha Banks and Bayley. Bayley going up against Asuka. Champion versus champion. We already talked about that match. Really good match between those two. So big thing going into Raw next week. Sasha and Bayley defending the tag titles against Kyrie, Seine, and Asuka. That's going to be great, and I cannot wait for that. Other than that, guys, that's about all I got for you guys today on the Legit Shoot podcast. Thank you guys for joining me, man. Like I said, Raw tonight, it wasn't terrible. It did its job. It built towards Extreme Rules. You built towards the WWE Championship match. You built towards the women's title matches and all that other stuff. It's just nothing happened on the show that caught our attention. There's nothing. If you missed this show tonight, if you didn't watch it, you didn't really miss much. You can watch the highlights on YouTube, but there's nothing that happened on this show that you need to go back and watch. It wasn't a terrible show. It was just nothing really captivating happened on it. It was better than last week's show, but it just wasn't anything special. But other than that, guys, that's about all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys for joining me here on the podcast tonight. I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully you guys stay safe and healthy. I'll see you guys later this week, most likely for SmackDown. Have a happy week. I don't know what I'm saying, but I need to get out of here. But stay safe and healthy, guys. Thank you guys for everything. Like, comment, and strive. Please, guys, leave a like on the video if you guys enjoyed. It really helps the video get pushed out into the recommended section. It helps me out a ton. Follow me on social media. The link is in the description down below. Also, guys, hit that bell for all notifications so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. I'll see you guys later. Have a great night, guys.